Hi crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and so happy that you're with us today. We are all about crafting made easy today. We're going to make a card in a snap, and it's a Z fold. So let's head down to the crafting table and let's get busy. Now let me show you what this easy card is going to look like. Look at that. So easy and so much fun. Now make sure you stay with us because I have two more cards to show you at the end that are a little jazzed up, and we'll see what you think. But the first thing you need to do is grab your cardstock and let's cut a top fold card. That is so easy. We are going to score first at 5.5. Now, scoring first and cutting second will create two cards for us. So let's do that. We scored at 5.5. We're cutting at 4 1/4. We have one card. We have two cards. Okay, we're going to put one of these cards to the side, and now we're going to bring in our bone folder, give this a good crease. And now we want to go ahead and score this top fold right here. So we're going to bring in our trimmer again. And this time we're going to score at 2 3/4. That will give us our Z fold. Now we're going to take that and fold it back. Give it a good crease with your bone folder. And look at that. We have our Z. Now, when you crease, it's good to crease on the top, but also crease on the bottom again, just to give it a good crease. The next thing we want to do, so easy, is bring in some mats. And we are going to cut two mats. We have our first mat that we've cut, and we decided to select this color because in a moment you'll see how it coordinates with what we're going to stamp. And this first mat is 3 3/4 by 4 3/4. But I want to remind you that all the measurements and supplies are listed over on creativemomentsbyg.com on my blog. Now, while you're in the cutting mood, let's go ahead and cut our white paper. And this is simply a rectangle that is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And we will need two of those. So this mat is going right here, just on the top. We're going to glue it down just on this fold. But before we do that, let's go ahead and stamp our beautiful scene very quickly that we're going to stamp. Now, I'm just going to bring in a piece of paper so I can stamp right on it so it doesn't get my desk messy. And I want to show you the stamp that we'll be using. We picked this beautiful silhouette stamp from Gorgeously Made. Now, I'm sure you have stamps that are silhouette stamps. And so just use those if you don't have it. But this is a wonderful stamp set. Then for our sentiment, we're bringing in one of our favorites, Simply Xenia, and this gorgeous sentiment here. Words fail to express my gratitude. Oh, it just looks beautiful. Now we're going to bring in Coastal Cabana to give us our beautiful watermark that I'm going to show you how to stamp. And of course, Night of Navy. Now, the star of the show for this Technique Tuesday is Under the Moon, because we are going to use this stamp right here to create our background, our watermark, if you will. Now, below this video, I will link a video, just in case you don't have this stamp set, that shows you how to use an acrylic block to create the same thing. So let's bring in our Coastal Cabana. Let's bring in that stamp that I told you about, and let's just create that background. Tap, tap, tap. I'm going to bring it over just a little bit lighter, so I'm using a second generation stamp. Just makes a very light pass right in the middle. Tap, tap, tap. Now I'm going to turn it the opposite direction and bring that back in, just on top. And this is a very light color, so it doesn't make a dark watermark. Now, if you had a really juicy, say, gorgeous grape or rich razzleberry or berry burst, you might want to stamp off first. But this gives us that beautiful watermark that we want. And now what we want to do is bring in our sentiment. We're going to put our sentiment right up there. We're going to bring our Knight of Navy in. Tap, tap, tap. Give us a nice inked up stamp, and we're going to put that right at the top. And we're just going to hold it so all that ink can transfer. And look at how beautiful that is. So pretty. Now we're going to keep this open because we're bringing in that silhouette stamp that I told you about. It prints the entire leaf set, and we want to go ahead and we're going to stamp off one leaf, but then the other one I want it to kind of stay short, and I'm going to show you how we do that. I'm going to try to only ink up the top part of it right here. So tap, tap, tap. Now I may have a little ink down there, so just to make sure it does not get on my card, I'm going to bring in some painter's tape. It's just some inexpensive tape. I'm going to tear it off, and I'm going to put it right there, just so it doesn't get on the card. I'm just going to put this right like this and hold it so all the ink can transfer. Look at that, how pretty. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this off and ink it up again. This time I'm just going to go ahead and take it off the paper. Look at that. And you can use anything for your silhouette. I'm sure that you have flowers that stamp a solid color like this. And now we have our mat ready. So let's go ahead and bring in our background. Let's get this laid down. You can use a tape runner or you can use glue. And because I don't need it to wiggle wiggle, I'm going to go ahead and just use a tape runner. Just get a little bit of tape on both sides and down the middle. Line it up so my margins are all the same. Bring in my card. I'm going to lay this down, and I know that I need the tape about halfway, so I'm just going to bring in my tape runner again, put 3 strips of tape, center this on the card, once again making sure that my side to side, top to bottom margins are the same, and look at that. So easy, right? Now, let's bring in our other mat, and let's go ahead and stamp just a little bit to give it some color. I'm going to bring in our silhouette leaves again, and just put a little something on the bottom here. And the front of this card covers up the inside perfectly. So look at that. Look at how pretty that is. Crafting made easy, right? A quick card, but a wow card. Let's go ahead and make one more using a different stamp set. This time I'm going to use Sentimental Park. I'm going to use these cute little flowers right here. I'm going to use the same sentiment, our gratitude sentiment. We have already cut our top fold. This is just a regular top fold, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, and then we scored the top flap at 2 3/4. Now we're going to bring in our 2 mats again. So we have 2 of each. And let's decorate the front of our mat. This time we're going to use Gorgeous Grape. Now, this is a juicy stamp, but I'm going to go ahead and just tap it very lightly. Tap, tap, tap. And I'm going to put it right down at the bottom. And just hold it so all that richness can transfer. Look at that. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the top on because I'm going to stamp Flirty Flamingo in the center just to make it lighter. And I did clean my stamp. That's a tip. You want to make sure and clean those stamps in between colors so that they don't mix. I'm going to open up. Oh, I'm using Highland Heather. I'm going to tap, tap, tap. It's a very light color. Just going to push very lightly. Look at that. Now I'm going to bring in my sentiment, and I'm going to bring in Night of Navy to stamp my message right there in the center. I used that stamp set that I showed you, and I stamped our flowers, and then I used their dies to cut out these cute little leaves. So let's go ahead and add them to the front of our card on some dimensionals. And now we're ready to add the front of our card to our mat. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to bring in my tape runner. We know we need it just on half of the card, our tape, so we're just going to add that. We're going to add the inside. And add it to the inside of our card. And there we have our second card. And look at how pretty that is. Look at that. Now, remember I said stay with us because we have some jazzed up cards to show you. Now, here we have cut out some flowers, added them on dimensionals, added our beautiful little gems, and you open it up. We've jazzed this one up with some gems and some really beautiful flowers. And this one, look at this one. We added our flowers on dimensionals. We also used stickles to really make those flowers sparkle. Look at that. Open it up. And there you have it. Take a moment, leave a comment. Which is your favorite card? So what do you think about these beautiful Z-folds? They are cards you can make in a snap. We hope that you like them. We want to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, Maude and I sure hope that you do. Give us a subscribe and like and share. We just appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. If you haven't subscribed, you might want to subscribe to our channel. We post 2 videos every week just for some added inspiration for your card making. Well, Maude and I want to wish you a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.